students and parents at the point where you've already clicked on the Clever icon on your desktop. It will bring you to this screen. And one of the things you want to be able to do is try to log in, of course, using your email addresses or your username and your password. And what you'll do is, and I'm going to go in with the Active Directory here at school. You can try with Clever. Either one should work, but if one doesn't, try the other one. You can see it's loaded me at my organizational screen for FBCS, my email address, and my password. I've typed that in. I'm going to sign in. It brings me to the Clever home screen or home page. At some point it will. And it starts loading like this. You can see it's got a variety of items on there. What you'd want to do is scroll down to the FWCS applications. If it's something you're using or you've widely used or you will be using, you can also see it under favorites, I would imagine. But what you're looking for is Schoology. You're going to double click on Schoology. Now, parents, just so you know, this is the primary learning space for our students when they're at home, even when they're in school. But if you have a student on quarantine, this is where you will go to locate your classes. So I'm going to double click on Schoology. It will again ask me to authenticate my account because I have two accounts. As many of you know, I've got that Lane social media, which is where I do a lot of my announcements. But I'm going to click on my name for the Schoology integration, and it will bring me to what you're seeing here, which is the course dashboard. Now, mine looks different because I have only the teachers who have added me to their classes. Your student or you student should see any of your classes as long as your teacher has their Schoology page up and running. Now, parents, you should know that we're still having teachers get those up and going. It will be probably to the end of this week before everybody has it up. And different teachers are at different points and spots with their learning curve on how to use Schoology. So just know that you're in the right spot. If you happen not to see a class, it doesn't mean it's not going to be there. It will be. It's just that that teacher is not necessarily ready for it to be active yet. So what you'll do is you'll get to that point, and this is the point you want to be at. A couple things to point out to you before we get into some specific classes and what to look for. You can feel free to explore as much as you want, particularly under the groups and resources pages here. We'll show you that in a moment. But another thing to point out to you is by your profile name. You see my name there. There's a drop-down menu. At that drop-down menu, you can see Lane Middle School. Parents who have access to this, staff members have access to this, and students have access to this. This will become the primary Lane Middle School hub page for all things Lane Middle School that everyone can see. I'm going to double click on that right now. And you can see it takes me to the Lane Middle School page here. Now, this is, again, general page for everybody. You can see this morning I loaded this morning's announcements on there for the updates page. But I'm also going to point you to the resources page. At the resources page, and again, if you're home on quarantine or your student's home on quarantine, I'm going to show you some items that they can even begin working on. So for instance, there's a lot of folders here. These are generic folders loaded by the district. There may not be anything in there right now. In fact, there probably is not. I would, if I were you, scroll down to the very bottom of the page, and I'll probably move it to the top here in a second, and locate the Learning from Home, where you see Learning from Home here. This has been loaded specifically for students that are at home right now that have no way of accessing what teachers are doing in the classrooms today. And you'll double click that link. There's one link in there, students. This is going to take you to a Google slide. When you click on the Google slide, it's going to ask you to make a copy. Be sure that you make your own copy of this. You're going to make that copy, and it's going to give you this particular slideshow. Now, my advice to you parents and students is to make sure that the best way to access the information and other links in this is to go up to View, Present, and then you are able to click through to see the different days. And our instructional coach, Mrs. Roberts, loaded all this. This is just one day. We're going to load other days this week for those of you that are at home. Now, I will say this, and again, you can click through, you can click on the different items and start doing some work, parents, per your discretion. This is not necessarily information that is going to be collected, but it is just to keep students busy and get them in the mode of learning while they are on quarantine. So I'm going to go back to my Schoology page, and I'm going to go back to my groups. Or if you can click on the FWCS logo here, it will bring you back to that course dashboard. There's a variety of calendar options here that you can see. Again, you'll click on the teacher's class, and that class will bring you to a variety of things. Now, Mr. Moe is one of our 8th grade social studies teachers. He's right where I would want everybody to be right now. He is also our technology coordinator for the building, so he is going to be a bit more advanced at the moment. But when you get to a teacher's Schoology page, one of the first things you'll see under the announcements is the weekly agenda. If you were a student here last year or a parent here last year, you know that teachers will load this weekly agenda assignment. You could click on the actual day, and it will give you the agenda, the objectives, the things that are going on in the life, in the learning of the classroom for that teacher. So I'm going to go back here again to the dashboard, and this gets you accessing the information that teachers already have available to you, parents and students. By the end of the week, my hope is, or by Monday next week, that all teachers will have their Schoology pages up and running. Thank you. If you have any more questions, please let us know. And thanks for being patient with us as we work through some of the unique circumstances that this school year has already presented.